Welcome to Public Speaking with Peter George. Do you want to be calm, confident, and credible every time you speak in public? Then stay tuned as Peter and his guests discuss public speaking tips, techniques, and tactics that help you increase your impact, influence, and income. Here's your host, Peter George.
There's no doubt about it. We live in a video world, and that's a scary realization for many. The thought of seeing themselves on screen, or even worse, others seeing them on screen, makes their hearts pump faster, causes them to sweat, and, well, just really have the same reactions that someone who's afraid of public speaking would have. Thankfully, there are people like Elsewine Rietveld who can help us be more confident and more comfortable on camera. When it comes to making videos and speaking in public, Elsewine used to be the proverbial deer in the headlights. She was so terrified to record her first video that she walked straight out of the room. Over time, she's found an effective method on how to get comfortable on camera and is sharing techniques from her confidence creation framework with you. Since 2013, she has been training professionals to speak with confidence in conversations, presentations, and on video. She has worked with CEOs, managers, and employees from, among others, KPMG, KLM, Deloitte, local governments, various law firms, and close to 1,000 business owners. Her happy place is on top of the Swiss mountains with nothing more than a chocolate bar and a bottle of water, watching the stunning view after a steep climb. Joining us from the Netherlands, it's Elsewine Rietveld. Welcome to the show, Elsewine.
Thank you.
Appearing on video has become a necessity for many of us, but that doesn't mean we're very comfortable with it. Can you tell us a story of how you went from being camera shy to camera confident?
Yes, absolutely. So for me, it actually started with fear of public speaking when I was in college. I had to find something out and then tell the whole group, the whole classroom about it, which were 90 people. And at the moment in front of the classroom, I just froze up and there was this disconnect in my brain and I didn't know what I was actually supposed to say right there and then. So through a journey because I was like, hey, this is not so easy. I probably will need this more, this skill more in work and future times. So I did a training, joined a debating club, and that helped. So I got more used to it, but I was still uncomfortable and scared, but not so much that I froze up. And I did a lot of trainings in various topics. And at some point I thought, well, with this training, I can create an online course. So I had borrowed a tripod, used our handy cam that we already had some lights, and then I walked out of the room. Because when I had the camera there and that big lens was open, that same feeling, it was as if 90 pairs of eyes were looking at me again and then multiplied. And I know it's irrational. I don't know if listeners can relate to that, but it felt like 10,000 people were watching me. And it's not, but it felt like that. And I just walked out of the room. And again, I was like, okay, this is not so practical. I want to do more with this. So like with the years before, I found a method that really helped to go out of overthinking and have practical exercises for body, mind, and energy. And I started implementing that. And that really helped me to actually keep standing in front of the camera and press record and record the first videos. And over time, I learned, of course, I made many mistakes and I learned so much. So for the past 8 years, I have been training people in public speaking and camera confidence with this method integrated with everything I've learned. So that's basically how that came to be.
Most people see an expert like you and they assume, oh, she was just born with it. It just comes naturally to her. But like anybody else, you had to work at it.
Absolutely. And I can so relate to people who feel uncomfortable speaking up, whether it's in a meeting at work or, when you are somewhere in a training and you have this circle of people and everybody is going to introduce themselves. And when they go one by one, right, you feel it come closer to you. And the closer it gets, the more nervous you get. It's something I hear so much. So one of the things I do when I have a physical training is to just random say, like, if you feel you want to go next, just go next, to avoid that feeling, because people are just so worked up about themselves. They don't even hear what other people are saying. And I know I had that.
What are some other common struggles people have when it comes to making video specifically?
What I hear a lot that people say is, I don't like how I look or sound on camera. You know, when you have a recording of yourself, it sounds different, whether it's video or audio recording. It sounds different from how you hear yourself inside of your head. So that's like that for everyone. This is pure physiology. So that is for the audio part. It's something you can get used to. And for the whole thing or the video part, we are often so critical towards ourselves, but other people don't see it like that. They just love to hear our tip and our inspiration. So it's, you know, other people are worried about themselves and not so much about us. They don't have all these, there's always some trolls, but generally speaking, people love to watch a video, a tip, some inspiration that you are sharing. Another common struggle is not knowing what to say. Just earlier today, I had a networking session and there was a VA and she said, well, yeah, I can do some personal videos, but there's no content I could do a video about. So I just, on the top of my head, I gave her some ideas, like, you know, for example, using Trello, rules in email, planning your day, schedulers, how, like, problem solving. And there was like already 5 tips. And she was like, oh, yeah, you know, I actually could. So many people think they have no content because they know it. And they forget that there are people who don't know what they know. So that is really a common one as well. And some technical aspects is also something that is holding people back sometimes. Like, do I need light? Do I need an editor? Do I need to do captions? What background? And sometimes it feels a bit overwhelming to have all that. So those are common struggles that I hear often.
And people might be really critical of themselves and very much afraid of doing this right now. Why is it so important to include videos?
That is such a good question. I think there are 2 aspects to it. First, it's to really build this connection with your audience, because no matter how well you write, or maybe how well your copywriter is writing for you, if you see text and a picture, you sort of create an idea of how this person is. But that can be very different, mostly it is, from how this person actually is. It's, you know, it's their voice, the way they move, the way they speak, accent, just, you know, your personality is so much more visible when you do a video. And there's 2 sides to that. So there will be people who won't like you. And that is actually a good thing. You know, we have this general feeling we want to be liked by everyone. But actually, when those people are reading your posts and they like your content and they schedule a call with you, like, maybe we can work together, or I can book you or hire you to do something for me. And then you get on a call and then they see you for the first time and they decide, oh, you're not for them. And it's a huge waste of time for you and for them, and a disappointment. They don't want to work with me. But when you do videos, they already get a feeling. So when they feel like you're not for them, they won't reach out and book that session to explore if you could even work together. And at the same time, other people will actually love you. And and I say, like, the know, love, trust increases so much with video. Some people will just, like, platonically fall in love with you and say, like, oh, when you look for a VA, when you look for a bookkeeper, when you look for whatever service that you offer, they get to know you and like you already just through the videos that you are sharing. And it's so much easier to sell. I spoke to a lady who is a lead magnet lady, and she says, I hardly do any selling because they already know me. They know how I am. She's from India. She laughs a lot and loud, and I absolutely love it. And when I see her video, I instantly smile and feel better. And some people won't like it, and that's fine. But people who go to her always say like, oh, yeah, they're already ready to start working together. So it's really important as a business owner that you get out there to attract the right people to you and don't have to waste your time on people who wouldn't work with you anyway.
That's great advice. Now, for those of our listeners who are still camera shy and not sure they're able to do this, what's the first step they should take?
I think it is a mindset shift. Like I said about my story, I had this feeling that when I'm on camera, 10,000 people are watching, even though, of course, I sort of know mentally it's not. It still feels that way. And it really helps to not imagine you're talking to a thing or not to imagine you're talking to thousands of people, but to just imagine one person that you're speaking to. So this could be your best friend or your ideal client, someone you really know. And then find the lens of the device that you use. It could be your camera, it could be your laptop, or it could be just be your phone. Find out where the lens is and imagine that lens is the eye of the person. So you're just speaking to one person and you're sort of having a conversation. And don't think about anything else. And some people even like to put up a picture of this person behind the camera. So they feel like, oh, I'm actually just speaking to this person. And this makes such a shift. I've spoken to a lady that I've interviewed, and she is an actress, and she's used to be in front of the camera. But when she became a business owner and she had to make videos for her business, actually, she was a bit uncomfortable and scared. And she thought it's very daunting. And this was the very thing she did as well. She tried some things like an auto cue or other things, but she didn't feel it was working for her. And when she imagined she was just talking to her best friends, that was when her real self came forth. So when you start out, make short videos. Just do like one short tip. Don't make the video too long. Just one short tip and imagine that you're talking to your best friend. And that takes the first scare of it all away.
Now, what should they avoid? What shouldn't they do?
Well, in my opinion, reading is really not something to do because what we want with the video is the connection. So I just said before, find the lens of your device, whether it's your laptop or your phone or a camera, and really look through the lens to make that connection. But when you are reading, you're looking away from the camera. So this is audio, so you can't see me do it. But you will notice the huge shift in connection when people are looking at themselves at the camera or especially specifically at text. And written text is also different from when you speak. Like I said before, imagine you just have a conversation with your best friend. That doesn't sound so robotic or fake, or well, not fake, but different in words. When you start writing and then read it, it is just not the same. And for me, reading is giving people a false sense of security. You don't need it. You need to make the connection with your audience. And the best way to do that is to imagine you speak to a person. And you have the general idea, so you can write down a few bullet points, like I want to talk about, well, for example, a tip I do a lot is make eye contact. So I can write down like lens, look through, picture behind, for example. So those could be 3 things I write down. But I wouldn't write down word for word what that video would be like. Personally, I don't like videos that have music on them either at the same time when people are speaking, because it's really, we want people to hear you and your message. And I see a lot of people, and I don't know why they do it. They download a general YouTube free audio file that has nothing to do with their message, with their tip or their video. It's just sort of filling a void. Maybe, I don't know. But I always need to really extra concentrate to hear what the person is saying, or I drift away. So I would say no reading, no music, just be you and make that connection with your audience.
We all know what it's like to forget what we're going to say. What if you're making a video and you totally forget what you were just about to say?
So there are two elements to this. When you are recording a video, it can help to write down the bullet points, like I said before. So when you just think like, oh, I'm going to create a video about making eye contact with the camera, or when you're a VA about Trello, or when you're doing something about taxes, doesn't matter the topic, you think of a topic that you want to do. And then suddenly this camera is there and you forgot what you're going to say. So first of all, breathe, keep breathing, because when the breathing stops, it sort of stops the whole flow of everything. And then you can take some time and really think like, what do I want to say? So you write down your bullet points and you can practice it out loud a few times. And it doesn't have to be exact, but just practice maybe in front of the mirror. I sometimes, when I do a new topic that I've never done before, in the shower, I just say it out loud once or twice to get acquainted with the words a little bit. And every time that I do, I made like at least 4 or 5 different videos over the past few years on the topic of eye contact. And every time I say it a little bit differently. And I did tons of interviews or a lot of video interviews or guest expert sessions with video in Facebook groups, and also a few podcasts like this. And this topic comes up a lot of the time. And every time it sounds a little bit different. How the question is asked, how I'm feeling the day. The general message is always the same. So it's not about the exact words or getting it right that can really make you freeze up.
I really like how you said, get acquainted with the words.
Thanks. And I think that's the first time I said it like that. So it just came up like that today. And I think I will keep that in. So that is for the recorded videos. But there's, of course, the other element is live videos. So what if you do live video and you forgot what you were going to say? So my best tip for you is to just acknowledge it. So keep breathing and say, hey guys, I was going to say something else, but it just slipped my mind. And people won't hate you for it. Actually, people will extra like you for it because you are real, you are relatable. And by acknowledging it, you take away the stress. So if you sort of try to hide it and sort of talk over like, oh, if only they don't notice that I forgot what I was going to say. Just say like, we all have that happen to us sometimes. And when you have a live with an audience, sometimes the person says, oh, you were talking about this and this. And that can help you. Or just because you acknowledge it and you take a deep breath, you get back into it. Or what you can do is start back where you remember. So you were saying something and you remember that. And then pick it up a little bit back, and then it comes to you, or you know something else that you were going to say, because they didn't even know exactly what you were going to say. So they might not even notice, but you can just acknowledge it and say like, oh, I just thought of something and it slipped my mind. And yeah, it happens to everyone.
Now you have a new book coming out, right? Get Comfortable on Camera.
Yes, it is a book that is a combination of the whole strategy and tips around doing videos, accompanied by 9 interviews with different experts in their fields. And as a special book bonus, you can watch the full interviews, and a part of the interviews is actually written in the book. I start with first talking a little bit about the strategy of doing videos, because when you put in the effort of actually making videos, it really does help to take some time and think about what actually are my goals. How do I want to use videos? What's the goal I want or goals I have by making these videos? Who do I make them for? Where will I post them? That all has an effect on the topics, the length, anything that you actually goes into your videos to make them more effective. I have do's and don'ts. A few we covered today, like make the eye contact, don't read, things like that, but more than these are in there. I'm sharing the pirate technique of doing live videos. At the moment that we are recording this, I have ordered the proof print to double check that everything is where it should be. And I will receive that in 2 days. And when that is indeed the case, it is ready to launch very soon. So I hope within the next 2 weeks, it will be ready and available on Amazon.
Is this your first book?
It is my first business book. So in 2005, I've written a children's novel and a romantic novel, both in Dutch. Many years in between then and now. And this is actually the first business book that I write like this.
You've got to be excited that it's getting close to the publishing date.
Absolutely. I've started just like, I think the 7th of February. So it's actually still pretty quick how the whole process went down. And I got into the right flow with the right guidance, and the book just flowed out. There's a lot of examples and stories in there as well. So it's not just dry, or it's not like a workbook, even though there are a lot of practical steps in there. I'm talking about mindset as well, how to get loose from beliefs that can hold you back in an easy and very quick to implement way. So yeah, that's really very exciting.
I'm looking forward to reading it. So it's Get Comfortable on Camera.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, what's one final tip you can share with our listeners?
I think it's just so important to look at what is the thing that holds you back from doing videos. What is the belief? There's maybe a hint into that mindset work that I told you about. There's different steps in the book. And the first step that is in there is actually a template that I have. And it's an even though sentence. So you first think about the one thing that holds you back from doing videos most. Is it a belief? Is it about tech? Is it about how you sound? Doesn't matter what, no judgment. Just when you think about, I'm going to make a video, what's the first resistance that comes up for you? And then think about your audience and think about the impact that you will have, or like how they will be helped with the topic that you want to share. And that could be something like, my audience loves to hear what I say, or can benefit from my tips, or will be really inspired by what I share. And then you make a sentence, even though I struggle with this, I know, and then you add in the positive. So even though my struggle, positive outcome. And this helps you. So it doesn't take away the objection or the fear or the feeling that you have, but it no longer will stop you, because the impact that you will have, the positive outcome, is bigger than the block or fear or feelings or uncomfortable feeling that you have. So it's still there. That's okay. But even though that it's there, you can still inspire the audience. They will still benefit. They will benefit from your tips, and you focus on this positive element of it. And that is actually also my big vision for my book, is that at least 10,000 business owners get this book and implement these steps so they can inspire their audience. So it gets like this big ripple effect. The people, they don't no longer hide, they get found, get seen by other people because they do more videos. So they get more clients and inspire more people and help with their gifts. So it's this big ripple effect of positivity that I hope that will come from this book.
Well, maybe our conversation here together will help you get to that 10,000 people.
That would be fabulous.
With that in mind, Elsewine, where can our listeners learn more about your services and the book itself?
Yeah, so there are 2 websites. One is elsewine.com. So just how my name is written, that you will see somewhere, I think, here around the audio of the podcast. And the other one is getcomfortableoncamerabook.com, which has more information about the book. There are some snippets of the interviews. And when you have the book, you can actually watch the full interviews as well.
Those are included in the show notes, so it'll be easy for the listeners to get in touch with you and buy the book if they're interested. Elsewine, it's been a pleasure to chat with you today. I thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That's a wrap of another episode of Public Speaking with Peter George. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Tune in Monday when you'll hear another episode of Public Speaking with Peter George, and again Thursday for your next episode of Quick Bites, public speaking tips and techniques you can digest in 5 minutes or less. Until next time, remember, when it comes to speaking in public, you've got this.